This is how the pricing works for HVAC company, electrical, anything, plumbing, whatever. All right, so you're going to add your bills up because only your bills matter. So it doesn't matter how much anyone else charges. It doesn't even matter how much your competition charges because you have to pay your bills, right? So the first thing you're gonna do is you're going to add up all your expenses, truck payment, insurance payment, phone bill, gas, everything that you pay throughout the year to run your business. You're gonna also put your salary in there. So if that's 50,000, 60,000, you're gonna put that in there. You're gonna get a number when you add up all your bills for the year. Let's say that number is $100,000, right? That's how much you're spending every year on the business. You need to make that back, right? That's why you don't typically try to make up prices. So let's say that number ends up to be 100,000. Now you need to divide that number by how many hours there are available to work in the year. You can't put 2,000 because you're not working 2,000 hours a year. 2,000 hours would be 40 hours a week, every single week, right? We know that you probably are taking a week off for Christmas or Thanksgiving, right? So that's already some hours gone. Also, we're not busy all year. We're not working 40 hours a week all year because we have slow times, right? Also, there's some times when you're cleaning the truck out. There's some times when you're doing other things and you can't bill for those hours. So you don't have 2,000 hours available, right? So you're gonna take that number, let's say it ended up $100,000, for example. You're gonna divide that by typically 1,000 hours because that's about as much as an HVAC tech works. You can put 1,500 hours, but I wouldn't go any more than that, right? So if you divide that 100,000 by the 1,000 hours that's available, or 1,500 hours, you're gonna get a number. That's your break-even rate. You can't charge your break-even rate because it's just gonna put back what you spent. You're here to make some money, right? That's why you're doing it, for your family, for your wife, for your kids, everything. So once you divide that 100,000 divided by 1,000 or 1,500, you get a number. That's your break-even. You're gonna divide that number by a percentage. That's gonna be your profit margin. Let's say you divide that number by 0.5. That's gonna put you at a 50%, right? Which is what you should do. If you divide that by 0.5, that's gonna give you your hourly rate. It's based off of your bills. It's based off how much money you need to make to survive. It's not based on your competition. It's not based on anything else. Once you get that number, let's say that number ends up being 250. That's $250 an hour. That's what you need to charge. So if you quote a job, you can look at the job and say, I know this job is gonna take me 3 hours. That's 250 times 3. That's your labor. You can do that on any job. Once you fix that number, it's easy. You just figure out how long it's gonna take you. You multiply it by how many hours it's gonna take you. That's your labor. Now you need to add your materials. The materials is an easy part. You price everything from the supply house, and then you take that number and you add a profit margin to that, right? Because you're not charging exactly what you spent. You need to make a profit margin. And the reason you need to make a profit margin is because things happen. You need to be able to afford to take care of your customer. They call you back, things happen that are out of your control. How do you afford to pay it if you're breaking even? So you take your labor number, you take your expenses, you divide your expenses by a profit margin. I suggest that you do 0.5, unless the materials are just some insanely high number. Add your labor rate plus the materials. That's how much your job is. It's pretty simple. It's based on your bills. Just make sure you do these two things after you get your number. Number one, make sure you're always checking your pricing. So if your salary goes up or you get another truck and the truck payment is higher, now you need to go back and do that again. A lot of people do their pricing and then they forget about it. 2 years goes by, 3 years goes by, and they're losing money. So you always want to check on your pricing. Number two, when you do your pricing right, you're gonna find out 9 times out of 10, you're a lot higher than you were charging. And you're probably gonna be higher than some of your competition. That's okay. All that means is you have to stop competing on price. So you're no longer gonna go in and try to be the lowest price or say, hey, I can price match, or how much did the other guy charge you, and go lower. You can't do that because your pricing is now set up to pay your bills and to put a little money in the savings for your family. Because a lot of you guys are self-employed You don't have retirement for a job, so you have to put your own retirement in, right? So what you need to do is start selling for value. You're going to go in, you're going to bid against people, you're going to stop saying like, hey, I can give you a good price, hey, I can beat the competition. You're not going to do that anymore. Now you're going to talk about how good you are, because you're going to sell the value. You need to make what you need to make. That's just bills. So you're going to tell the customer, hey, I've been doing this for 15 years, 16 years, or I typically do this, this, and this. A lot of companies don't. Hey, I'll also do this. I notice you have this. I'll throw that in there also. So you're starting to talk about your value, because your price is higher. Now you have to tell the customer why your price is higher. And that's when you talk about yourself. That's pricing. That's how you do it right. Let me know if you have any questions.